Hey folks, my name's Olivia Barbalescu. I'm the writer of Feral Woman, a Substack about dating, loneliness, friendship, and everything in between. A video was circulating of some guys reading my essay out loud in a park, and they inspired me to do a video essay of my own writing. The title of this piece is Men Aren't Needed Anymore and They're Struggling to Adapt Being Wanted. It's an essay I originally published on Substack and then got excerpted for an Instagram page called Impact. Today I'll be going through the full essay and then talking through some of the comments, DMs, reception, story behind it all. So without further ado, let's get this party started. Men aren't needed anymore, and they're struggling to adapt to being wanted. Start off strong with a good picture called A Man Trying to Embrace a Woman, or rather a painting. It's by Carol Demore. It's great. Historically, women needed to attach themselves to men. Women couldn't inherit land, sign a lease, or travel without a male escort. Did you know women couldn't sign up for credit cards on their own until 1974? As a single woman in 2026 with a tremendous talent for spending money, trust me, if I needed a man to shop, I'd have settled down with one of my less than fabulous Hinge matches by now. Thankfully, I can solo travel, live on my own, and buy overpriced dresses without a husband, so when I date, I don't evaluate a man on his ability to provide food, shelter, and safety, but instead, whether he's someone I want to be around. I think a lot of people lump the independent woman and man-hater tropes together, but I feel like if anything, modern freedoms allow us to appreciate men for who they are rather than what they provide. As a result, men are no longer needed, but wanted. And instead of seeing this as a freeing and exciting development, I have reason to believe men are struggling to adapt. Since having a husband was a requirement for survival, women adapted to maximize desirability. From restricting their diets to restricting their personalities, women did anything they could to demonstrate their ability to make men's lives easier and be wives, mothers, and caregivers. However, society has changed and women no longer need to be picked to survive. Yet men still desire women, but as a group, men were never required nor encouraged to undergo that same development. Thus, a skill gap has developed or emerged. A few days ago, someone left 100-pound weights on a machine at my gym. I couldn't move them on my own, so I went up to a guy and asked if he could help me. Before I even finished my question, he leaped up and moved all the weights. I was shocked by how happy he seemed to be helping me out. I wondered, is this the secret to talking to men? Do I just need to ask men to do more tasks? I posted a video online explaining the situation and was shocked when it got over 1 million views in a day. The video now has 2.5 million views. Some comments were condescending, likening men to toddlers that just wanted to do a task. I find this dangerous, as infantilizing men is as damaging as idealizing them. Saying things like, men are simple, or boys will be boys, are bad for two reasons. One, reducing men to base, cavemanish caricatures in popular media sets a low self-expectation for men. Secondly, encouraging women to see men as incapable of having rich inner worlds normalizes poor male behavior. Over time, this gap leads to misandristic thinking and combative dating. Surprisingly, most of the comments were positive, and even more surprisingly, those comments were left by men. A demographic I've come to associate exclusively with commenting, "You're not funny," on my YouTube shorts. Even more unexpected, they were using emotional language like valued, appreciated, and chosen. One account commented, quote, "Being asked for help is being seen by others as someone capable and valuable, and we all want to be seen that way, and are scared of being seen as weak, unvalued, or worthless, because we think if that's how people see us as worthless, they'll leave." It seems that most of the men saying things like, "Yes, I love a task," weren't really focused on the tasks, but more of the feeling of being chosen to help. Another type of comment started to emerge, calling out the men who loved talking about tasks yet didn't help out around the house. Special Agent RC commented, "Why don't they want to take out the trash or do the dishes? Those are physical tasks." To which Sludge Kitten responded, "Maybe if there was more of a sense of helping to those tasks than just doing a task that needs to be done, that either party can do. Kinda makes it more mundane. IDK, haha." To which Swag Socrates responded, "LOL, maybe we need heavier dishes and heavier trash for them to lift." Do we just need to make trash heavier? I'm kidding, but Sludge Kitten has a good point. a sentence I never could have imagined I'd write earnestly. Maybe it's that in a committed relationship, a woman asking a man to take the trash out feels like an assigned task rather than helping, which takes away the allure for a man. Women shouldn't be responsible for managing their husband's emotions around trash, but it is an interesting observation, and I'm very open to others' interpretations. Comment your take. I do think if there was a designated weight helper in the gym and I asked him to help, he'd likely be way less enthused than this random guy. Lastly, my friend and I read the comment below and both reacted the same way. So much to unpack here. It is an account named Anna DeWeird writing, I explained this to my daughter the other day when her little brother wanted to carry something for her and she kept telling him she can do it herself. Sometimes we let the boys do things for us that we can do ourselves because it makes them feel useful and that makes them happy. I'm about to put more thought into this comment than Anna DeWeird could ever have anticipated. On one hand, I understand how her son wants to be helpful. But let's say her daughter wants to carry a chair. Carrying it makes her daughter feel strong and useful. The same goes for her son, but there is only one chair. Who gets to carry it? Should the daughter give up the chair just so her brother can feel useful? I'd argue that her brother should be able to feel useful without carrying the chair by watching her be strong, cheering her on. However, this is an emotional usefulness that serves his sister as well as himself. In giving the boy the chair, we maintain the farce that he is successfully portraying specific, old-school masculine traits instead of modern-day ones like emotional strength, support, and kindness. If we just let boys carry chairs to feel good about themselves, aren't we just lying to them? I'd argue that teaching this pattern early is damaging for men. We're conditioning them to think that their usefulness is tied to accomplishing tasks we don't really care about. Then, when women ask for help that they really need, like cleaning the dishes, they get rejected because it doesn't match the pattern of what men have learned falls within the expected realm of masculine usefulness. My friend P recently told me that she is intentional with how she asks her fiancé for help. If she can tie it to manliness, he's much more willing to get involved. I think it's reasonable to put thought into how we communicate with our partners, but it's also important to consider the long-term ramifications of being complicit in this pattern. She said, men like to feel needed until they actually are. If you need them financially or you need them to do 50% of house chores, all of a sudden that's too much. If it's being needed in a way that is easy to fulfill and strokes their ego, they love that. If you're needed before you actually are, isn't that being wanted? So men want you to want their help, not just rely on it. These days, women make fun of men who have abandoned chivalry, splitting the bills, sitting on their phones while their wives tend to 5 children and 3 carry-on bags. I'll try to find the video, but there's a video of like a mime approaching a family while the woman is carrying everything and the mime like takes the suitcases out of the woman's hand and like gives it to the man. It's very funny. Listen, some of these men deserve to be made fun of, for sure. But shouldn't men feel chosen in their relationships with women too? Both people in a relationship should feel wanted, but I think the issue arises in that being wanted manifests differently for different people, and it's the mismatched expectation that is problematic. This applies to friendship as well. Being wanted is harder than being needed because it's not as definite. Being wanted can be withdrawn at any moment, which I'd imagine makes men feel less secure, especially if they were taught their value solely came from being indispensable. It seems like we need to remind men that their worth doesn't come solely from being useful. I think this quiet change from need to want has been destabilizing for men who tie their self-worth to utility and has resulted in a large misalignment in modern dating. Today, true usefulness is often a lot more emotional. Maybe you're dating a woman who doesn't need help lifting chairs, but needs you to listen. If it's being useful that you're after, no amount of moving furniture is going to help. But sitting on that furniture and listening to her, that's helpful. Even if you're not lifting something or fighting a bear, you're still valuable because you're you. Let me make one thing very clear. I don't want men to stop lifting things or helping me at the gym. I just want them to see that there's a way to be helpful, do tasks, be needed outside of the predefined mold men have been filling for since their inception. Their responsibilities are changing and expanding, which means there's a more diverse set of ways to be wanted than before, and I think that's something to be excited about rather than dread. I'm a very independent person, so when I choose a partner, it's because I want to be with them, not because I need them to survive. And I think that kind of wanting, the kind that's chosen, is a lot stronger than any that's built solely on necessity. So that's the full piece. A little bit of backstory. I originally posted that piece on Substack and then screenshotted it and put it on Instagram as well. and it went viral, but like a mini version of viral. So Impact, which is an account that has like 3 million followers and posts different stories, asked to repost it on their account, but wanted to do one of their like nice layouts of it. And I was super excited, only their version of it was going to be like half the length of the original version. When it was posted on their account, I never could have imagined it would have gone as crazy viral as it did. Like 4.5 million people have seen it or read it. And the comments when it first went out were pretty negative. And I think that there's multiple reasons you can look at it. One, the actual piece that Impact put out is like, doesn't have some of like the sarcasm and nuance that I have in the like original. And these people don't know me. And they might be reading it as a lot more authoritative. The first barrage of comments were from people, I think, reacting to the title. Some people were really happy. They were like, yeah, men aren't needed. But then there's other people who commented things like, again, this seems to be placing responsibility on women to make sure men feel comfortable. So tired of this. The thing is I write explicitly, like, women shouldn't be responsible for managing their husband's emotions around trash. That's an actual quote that's in the carousel that Impact posted. But it's further on. And so I think there's just like an element of like when something that is written gets posted onto social media, it's laid out nicely, it comes out in this way, but people may not have the patience to go fully through it. They might have like a gut reaction or like a knee-jerk reaction to the title. And I think that the title, is really like flashy, right? Like men aren't needed anymore. And depending on what the voice is in your head reading that, you can read that from like a man-hatery side of things. You can read it from like a non-biased perspective. So it requires a bit of nuance. I feel like at that first barrage of comments that were like really unhappy with the Impact post, I could see almost where they stopped reading in the carousel. Usually it was around the word misinterest. I think people thought that in me saying that men should feel loved in a relationship, that like crumb of acknowledgement or like reaching across the aisle was somehow taking away from like all the issues and struggles that women have, which is not my intention at all. I just am trying to introduce some nuance to this because I don't think that it's helpful that dating is become more combative. We see like a lot of like man-hatery and energy, which makes sense. There's violence against women. People have horrible experiences dating. Like it's easy to kind of like withdraw and shelter yourself in that way. And then you see a lot of like manosphere stuff. And I think my goal here is to just have a bit more nuance in how we're looking at some of this stuff. So you even have like a comment from somebody who is like, I'm independent and a man-hater. And it's like, congrats. So that's like the man-hater side, right? And then there's like the complete other side. I had this guy named Brian B comment, the fact you weren't gang raped in the park last week is because there's a whole infrastructure of men who work day and night to protect you from that. Brian, who is doing the gang raping? Not women. Not AI. Hasn't taken that job yet. Okay? The call is coming from inside the house, Brian. So the reason that I even made this video or this audio is because last week I got sent a video of 3 guys sitting on a bench reciting my essay live in a park. And at first I saw it and I was like, oh my God, new fans. Like, I can't believe that my writing has gotten men to do spoken word. The craziest part is that I go and I look in the caption's like, we hated this essay. What do you think? I look these guys up. They're Harvard law students and they're a part of the Harvard Federalist Society, which is like a conservative and libertarian group. But I just found that interesting because actually there's a lot of people who are conservative that seem to like my essay a lot too. And the thing that I found the most fascinating is that their bio on this like podcast that they were making was like 2 men taking on the world's hardest problems. And I'm like, guys, why don't you start with figuring out how to cite writing correctly first? Like, you guys are law students. You should know how to do a citation properly. They didn't credit me in the original video at all and didn't even show their own opinions. They just did like a really dramatic theatrical recitation of it outdoors, which it's cool to see that Harvard's letting in a diverse and holistic set of people, poets, dramaturgs, instead of just students of the law. So that's exciting. They even had a poll that was asking if men are needed or not, and let's just say it didn't go their way. We may disagree that men are needed anymore or not, but one thing that we know for sure is that those 3 men needed this woman to go viral because their video blew up, but I don't think in the way that they really hoped. Never would have thought that my first internet beef would be with a student organization at Harvard, but shout out to y'all for opening my mind of what internet beef could look like. So I want to dive into some of the more thoughtful comments that people left on Substack usually. That's why I recommend subscribing to my Substack and getting my writing there and engaging on the essays, because people really write smart, thoughtful comments that push me to think after I write these things, right? I like reading through it and seeing what you guys have to say. One of the main, I think, comments or critiques of the piece was I didn't then have a solution of how what to do with men. And it's guys, I'm not a therapist or a dating analyst, or I'm not Esther Perel. I highly suggest checking out her stuff. I think she's been in the field for 40 years. I do think that there needs to be some work done by men to think about what they really want in a partner, because now women don't depend on them. And so I think it is important for them to do some internal self-reflection, because there are a lot of essays of women psychoanalyzing men or being why men don't want to date these days. And I even saw a fun essay. If anyone finds it and can send it to me, because I tried Googling it and I couldn't find it. I don't know if it was an essay or a meme, but it was women need to stop writing think pieces about dating and just go out and be hot. And I think that there is merit to that too. Just go out and do your thing. I just found this interesting to do. I have noticed on the whole, I feel dating books that are targeted for women often are about, hey, do some self-reflection, grow into the best version of yourself, and you'll attract the partner for you. And then a lot of dating books that are targeted to men are how to make women like you, and it's more about offensive play rather than introspective. Another big thing that I saw was some guys were commenting that it often feels women want men to be more like women. It's I don't think that women are asking men to be more like women. I think women are asking men to be more emotionally intelligent. That's not a feminine trait. That's not a female trait. That's a human trait. So these are things that we as an advanced society that now no longer has to forage and hunt for our food and can have secondary and tertiary thoughts and have climbed up climbed down Maslow's hierarchy of needs and get to have more intelligent discourse. We have evolved, and I think that having more emotional depth and supporting your partner in new ways is part of the evolving landscape of dating and relationships. Overall, it's not that women want men to be more like women. It's that women want men to be better people. That's that. I want to end on a lighthearted note, which is I've gotten a lot of DMs from people talking about how this piece found them, how it made them feel seen, how it meant a lot to them, how it helped them find my other writing. And I just want to say, thank you so much. That is the first time I've ever gotten an outpouring of support, and people were even reaching out being hey girl, are you okay? These people did not read your whole essay, and defending me, which was very kind. And I sincerely appreciate it, because the first few days were kind of hard, and it feels doesn't feel good to be misunderstood on the internet at a scale that you are not used to or cannot control. So I want to just talk through a few DMs that meant a lot to me. One woman messaged me. She said, obsessed with the read, understood your angle, and can see the mismatch in understanding from some of the hater or negative comments. Feeling the burden rests on women when that's not what the article really reads as. The chair-carrying paragraph simply rocked my world. The lens you took was something I failed to see at the start, and then I genuinely gasped at the light bulb moment you gave me. Thank you so much. The chair analogy was noticeably left out of the impact post, and I think again that maybe nuance could have taken away from some of the extremism that we saw in the comments, and I really appreciate your kind message. Another one I got was, hi Olivia, I very rarely would reach out to a writer like this, but I want to say thank you. This was so validating as a man who has felt unsure about what the right way is to be a man today. I initially assumed the essay would be telling men they've proven that they're unlovable without resources to provide, and that's of course not the message at all. Thank you for writing this. When I went to the comments, I felt my heart drop, and I felt more of what I suppose I expected to feel. I really wanted to send this message because even if some of the comments are unsupportive or nasty, you've published something really apt and resonant, and it certainly validated, explained some things I've been needing to hear. So thank you. Forget the comments from the people who don't get it or don't care to. This meant a lot to me. Thank you. I really appreciate it. I've seen a really diverse set of people that have been reaching out to me, young and old, men and women, trans people as well. So all over the spectrum of everything, people that are gay or straight or queer, liberal, conservative. And that has been very, very cool to get to see like how embracing some nuance to this point can be unifying. This is the last DM that I got that meant a lot to me. Hi, I know it's a bit late, but I wanted to reach out and say thank you for your article on men struggling in the modern dating scene due to the wanted-needed dynamic. As a teenage boy trying to navigate an increasingly polarized world, thank you for giving us a more nuanced and balanced perspective on how we can better fulfill our roles as potential partners. I look forward to your next work. Thank you, but also, teen boy in my DMs, that is scary. Well, like, thank you. I appreciate it. And it's cool to see that this stuff has like reached such a broad audience. So thank you. If this piece resonated with you, or if you enjoyed this video or audio, please follow me on Substack. That is where all of my writing lives. Like that's where it's like home is. And you'll get my stuff directly to your inbox, or you can check it out in the app, which makes it easier to hear the audio and engage with the comments and the discourse. The link is in the description of this bio. Genuinely from the bottom of my heart, thank you to everybody who read or engaged with my writing in the past couple of months. I posted my writing for the first time a year ago, and I was very scared to do it. I think it's because I care so much about it. I had like 4 people review this thing that I wrote that probably like 10 people read my first post. And anyway, getting this type of like outpouring has really made me feel like a capital W writer. I'm so happy that this work has resonated with a lot of people. And I hope that in doing so, I can continue to make people feel less alone, a little bit more seen, and hopefully bridge the gap and introduce some more nuance into these conversations that have become more and more polarized throughout the years. Thank you so much to everybody, and please subscribe to my Substack, and I'm really looking forward to what we have coming down the pipeline. So thank you all, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Feral Woman out.